So hello everyone, welcome to Advanced Fundraising. So what today's presentation and discussions are going to be focused on are more of the advanced fundraising features within our platform. I'm Eric Cohn and this is the wonderful and awesome smart Natalie Young, who is a technical account manager, and I'm a vice president with RunSignUp. We'll go ahead and start talking about some of the features. So today we're going to cover some settings, hidden fundraising pages, fundraising team types, all the way down to fundraising minimums and fundraising refunds. So that'll give you some synopsis real quick of what we're going to cover. If you have questions at any point, feel free to interrupt me.
And I added this quote because I like it, but also because I work with some races that they don't ask for donations during registration. They might just integrate with another third party or direct to another fundraising page after registration, and they're leaving a lot of money on the table by not having that in conjunction with registration. So here we go.
Hidden fundraising pages. So one of the things that the platform has the ability to do is allow you to auto-generate fundraising pages for all of your participants. And with that, someone would be signing up to run the race, and they would actually get a fundraising page in conjunction with that registration and be able to use the fundraising tools at a later time to actually go out and generate additional donations, not from themselves, but from friends, family, associates at their organizations that they may work at. You can set up teams still with this model, and it allows for one of the many aspects of our engine to work really well. Once the person has registered, they get an email that says, here's your fundraising page in the confirmation email. So the confirmation email goes out, they get this awesome confirmation email that talks about your event, but also a link to actually manage your fundraising page and go in and actually set up additional things that they may have missed and start to actually fundraise. Fundraising team types. We actually have the ability to set up multiple team types for fundraising. So I don't know, can you give them an example, Natalie, of a scenario with the team types?
I always use Komen as an example.
Yeah.
But you have team awards and team prizes broken down by type. So friends and family, I think you have churches, hospitals. So you can add as many different team types as you want. The other ones I've seen are some schools have used this for their jogathon. So they'll break it down by grade. So first grade, second grade, third grade. So they can be customized however you want.
And it actually can be utilized in conjunction with other teams. So you can have fundraising teams, and then you can have non-fundraising related team. So the engine actually supports both in the same reg path. So you can actually have a two-person relay, as an example, on a marathon, and yet still have a fundraising teams set up and have different team types for both. Team captains are pretty important for fundraising, so you can actually have very specific fundraising team captain questions that are answered by the team captain at the time that they create the team. Ask them any very specific questions that you may want to have on that team creation process. Besides the team type, you may want to know, is it a nonprofit organization that you're signing up? That could be a very simple one. There's all sorts of things that you may want to ask a team captain. Have you done this before as a team captain? It could be a simple one like that. One of the cool features that we've actually have in our platform is the ability to customize fundraiser as the term. You can actually go in and change that term to anything you want. So if you have a charity that you're working with, or you are a charity and you may have the need or desire to make it something other than fundraiser, you actually have the ability in our platform to go in and change that at any point and make it into something that's more customized to the actual organizations that you work with. We also support milestone badges. So the milestone badges with an image will allow them to reach certain goals on their fundraising, and you can customize not just the label on the milestones, but also the badges. So you can have a standard one, maybe stars, or maybe ribbons, or it could be a lot of different things. You can actually customize those badges and terms that are used for each of those milestones in the platform. And then the last thing on some of the advanced fundraising is that we actually support pledge management.
We do have a way for you to enable pledge management if that's something that you want. We have automated reminder emails that go out to remind them to complete their pledge reports, and different pledge settings that you can set up.
So back to the kids example, the kids will go out if they're running a donation-thon, a run-a-thon donation program. They'll go get the other parents and friends and family to pledge. They're going to give $100 if they run 30 laps. Those pledges are all built into our pledge management, and then after they've run their 30 laps, they are actually then required to pay the pledge $100. That's an example of how that would work.
Or sometimes they do it by mile, right? Like
Yep.
if they do
Yeah.
Whatever the value is can be customized. So you can say lap or mile.
So in this instance, if I pledge something, do I prepay essentially? Do I put my credit card information there and then it
No.
hits me later?
No,
No.
it basically is just
Yeah.
saying that you're going to provide
Promise.
payment at, yep, it's a promise.
Yeah.
It's a
But
pledge.
then there's automated features that send the email.
Yep. Yep.
Send the email with the link to complete
get
the
them to follow
pledge, and you
Put
can
it in your
continually remind them. But we don't ever auto charge cards. Part of that's for PCI compliance reasons, but another reason is because we find that a lot of those auto charges end up being disputed anyway. So
How do you get the information about how many laps they ran? Is that coming from the timer? How are you getting?
there's two different ways. You can allow the pledge to go in and enter their number of laps, which I don't usually recommend, because I could lie and say I ran 100 miles today and I want more money. The other way is for the timer or the race director, and you can upload a list of laps by fundraiser ID. So once it's done, you just upload a list with the fundraiser ID and the total.
We've also seen some things where like some races have someone start at the back of the whole race and then they get people can pledge 10 cents for every person passes as they.
Yep. I mean, the pledge platform is actually that customizable where you could, in theory, go, hey, you're going to start at this point. How many people do I pass is how much you're pledging. And you can customize that label is what we call it.
So your pledge management, you do matching gifts, so I think that's going to be useful for us to, track the matching gifts that are going to come in at a later date, but then how do I validate it that once they come in?
So you wouldn't use pledge management for matching gifts. For every donation that comes through, you can go into the donation report and there's a matching gift button. And then you could go in and you say, gift matching, check's going to come in from Home Depot. And then once you receive that check, you would go into Jane's donation, hit that you received the matching gift, and it automatically adds that Home Depot matching gift to the report.
So, donation fundraising confirmation emails. You can actually have donation confirmation emails at the race level or at the charity specific. As an example, if you have a race that only has one charity, you can do it at the race level. If you have 14 charities, you can actually send out 14 very unique, customizable charity emails that go out to the individuals that donate. It's pretty nice to be able to customize that to the individual charities that you have involved. The individual and team fundraiser created emails, basically, when they've been created, you can go in and customize the instructions for what they're supposed to do at the time of creating their teams and at the time of joining a fundraising team as an individual. That individual email is different than the team captain of the fundraising team. So you can customize those instructions and those emails that go out to the individuals, whether they're a team captain or an individual fundraiser. So you can customize that through the platform, and they actually are getting their fundraising page link in that, and then you guys can add additional instructions to that. The new fundraiser added to a team was something that was added this year, and with that, basically what happens is if I have a team and one of you joins my fundraising team, I get a notification. So then I know that, hey, Natalie joined my fundraising team. Let me email Natalie and see if there's any questions, or just say thanks for joining my team. So that actually is pretty nice to get notified as a captain of when someone joins your team. The obvious one is a fundraiser goal has been reached. You get an email as a captain or as an individual that lets you know you've hit your goal. Someone donated and got you over the $5,000 goal that you had set, or that maybe the charity had a minimum requirement. So that's something that we now have in our platform where individuals that are trying to fundraise get notifications.
And I really feel like this notification email is underutilized for people that have fundraising minimums. So you can turn this email off, but it is nice to let someone know you've met your goal. But sometimes when people get this email, they think, okay, I'm done. I can stop fundraising. So it's really nice to customize this email and say, like, to prompt them to keep giving or to raise a different level. Or if you're doing different fundraising incentives, like, yeah, you've met the minimum, but here's what you can win if you earn more. So really customizing this
That's
email
sort
is
of
nice.
a theme that you'll see in the advanced marketing is, you can activate your participants in many different ways, but we find that giving them incentives to either promote your race or promote your charities beyond your normal goal is going to actually continue that process for them. They're not going to turn off once they hit a specific threshold and go, oh, I don't need to do anything else. If you give them another reason to continue on, they're going to continue on. They're already the most active and engaged people for your race. You just have to give them a reason to continue on so that they're not stopping at the first goal that you've set for them. Don't set just one goal is the key. Yes, ma'am.
If somebody hasn't met their fundraising minimum and you send them that reminder, can you also embed in that tips for how to continue their fundraising?
Yep, you can customize it. Fundraiser minimal reminder emails go out. You can customize those. You can actually say, here, donate to your own. If you want to hit your goal, you can donate on their own. But the idea is to give them a little bit of a kick in the rear end to say, you haven't hit your numbers, the race is approaching or the weekend is approaching. Please be a little bit more active and try and get some additional fundraising going on your behalf, on your campaign.
Are these automatic? Are you able to make these automatic, or is this something you manually go in and trigger?
Fundraising minimum reminder is not automatic. Yep. But we have a fundraiser minimum report, and there's a few different settings at the top, and then you can generate it whenever you want.
So fundraising refunds. How many of you are races that have like a required set fundraising goal that they have to hit and then they would actually get their money back? Couple. So that's basically this process. It allows you to have fundraising minimums that allow them to get the full entry back on the race or a specific amount. So the idea is that you can go in, set this up, and you can go, hey, if you raise $1,000, you're going to get free entry or you're going to get $100 back. And this is all automated. So once you set it up, they basically, once they hit their fundraising threshold, they're going to get the specific refund amount back. And that happens roughly at 12 at night Eastern. It's similar to some of our other automated refunds that happen. So every night at 12-ish Eastern, there's a lot of refunds that happen on our platform.
12:30.
12:30, sorry. To be precise. So basically we queue up a whole bunch of things, whether they're doing fundraising or they've done referrals and they've referred a whole bunch of people. At 12:30 at night, we batch up all of those and they go out. Yes?
Do you give them the option, let's say somebody's like, I want to be super generous, they don't want to take that refund back. Is there an option where they can say once they reach their minimum, they'll donate that still to the charity, or is that not a?
So if you have the setting enabled when you're creating the fundraising page, there's a checkbox that says I want a fundraiser refund. They can uncheck it during the registration process, so they can opt out. Let's say they opt in and then 2 weeks later they realize they don't want their refund. You could go into the back end of their fundraising page and opt them out. It would just.
But is it already checked so they have to can you send it where it's unchecked and they have to actually opt into? Is there a way that you can switch it?
No.
Not yet.
Yeah.
That hasn't been a big request yet.
How long do you keep credit cards on file? So if you do something really early and you got a big season there before you can give a refund, or is there?
The way that it works is it's actually using a reference. So a credit card transaction is a reference based. So really we're not storing the credit card, we're referring to it as a transaction reference code. So then if you needed a refund, we go, oh, here's a reference code, refund it. So what can cause hiccups is if you cancel that credit card.
I think you were more so asking, like, if you launch a program really early and you have the automated refund set up, is there a point in time where it's going to prevent you from doing that? Yeah, so on your side, it would stop after a year. So you would get an error message that you can't be done. But if you had a situation where it needed to be pushed through, as admins, we could push those
To
through for
Eric's
you.
point, if the credit card is canceled or no longer valid and it can't refund to the credit card, do you have an alternate?
The way that the refund works is if the card is completely canceled and I'm issued a new card, but I'm with the same bank, the bank is automatically going to put it to my new card. If my account is completely closed with that bank, it depends on whether or not the bank accepts it. So 80% of the time, the bank accepts it, and then they'll send a
manage
check to the customer.
Yep.
Other banks will reject it, and then it gets pushed back
So
to
you're
us.
really looking at a very, very small percentage of
And
It's
everyone's
just manual.
yeah.
Manual.
And every
for those last ones.
bank and situation is different, so we can handle those one-off.
Fundraising minimums. We have it set at the event level. So in RunSignUp, if you're not familiar as a user, you actually have what we call a race, and then underneath it you have 3 events, 4 events, and those could be distances. They can be combinations. It can be a lot of different things. So we call them events. You can actually have fundraising minimums at those event levels. So you could say, hey, the 5K has a $50 fundraising minimum, the 10K has $100, and the marathon has a $300 fundraising minimum. There are 3 options for those minimums. They can waive the fee at the time of the registration, don't waive the registration fee, or offer a refund, and then refund the registration after the minimum is met.
Oh,
Ugh,
look at that typo. That's a good one.
that's a long registration.
Registration. Sorry.
I read right over it. Another one of her favorite quotes. So Bill Gates, giving money effectively is almost as hard as earning it in the first place.
All the account managers that RunSignUp, we each have our own queue, and when a new race is set up or race is renewed or donations are enabled, we get a ticket and we go in and check it. So for the races that turn on donations, about 50% of them don't even add a donation description. They just turn on donations, no logo, no description. So when you're going through registration, it's just a box that asks for a donation, which is just like, hey, give me money, and that's not very well received. So if you have donations turned on, customize your donation description, make it pretty, utilize our tools, set a default fundraiser message. We have a lot of tools in there. We have a lot of tutorials. The more you can add to that page, the more donations you'll receive.
Talk about your mission.
Yeah.
On that, because I had a race director that wanted to default a number in there, that default into $10, $15. And I thought that was a terrible idea.
We don't have a way to do that. I agree that that's a terrible idea, because usually what happens with that is it just ends up hurting your conversions in the long run, because a lot of people don't see it. They don't even see the $10. They get all the way to the checkout page and they're like, hey, where did this $10 come from? Then they completely drop out. But that's why we have donation levels. You can set the donation levels with suggested donation amounts. And with that being said, with donation levels, another common mistake I see is people set their donation levels too high. So their minimum will be $25, $50. And I might want to give a donation, but I can't afford $25, but I feel super cheap entering in a 5. So if you start with lower suggested donation levels, you'll find a lot more donations actually come through, because you're validating someone will take your $5. So.
Well, the other key part to that is that you can't look at a race as just this one day. You should have a plan that's a 2 to 5 year plan. So some of the times it's better for you to actually get those donations at $1 to $3. So now you have a bigger pool of potential donors that are engaged with the mission of the charity, and therefore you can reach back out to them for next year, either to donate again or to potentially be a fundraiser or a participant in the event.
Do they have to pay a fee for their donations? Like, you know, they have to charge that,
It's a flat 4%.
so they do have to pay another 4%.
It depends how you have it set up. About 95% of races on RunSignUp who are taking donations, they absorb that donation processing fee.
Pass it on, or
Same as the registration, it can be split, them or you.
Yes.
the process is easy. So the idea of this is actually to keep things as simple as possible. As soon as you start to overthink, the process, what we tend to see is, as she was mentioning, a lot of drop-offs. If you're asking someone, to donate $10 or $20 up front, you may actually see a lot of people that will be hesitant to fundraise for you because they're like, I don't know if I can get people to donate $20 at a time. So the idea is just try and make things as simple as possible. Use our advanced features to help you along the way. Make the mission very clear as to who you are and why they should help you. And then remember at all times to thank them for all the work that they're doing for your mission. So you have a lot of cool tools in the platform to send out emails and send out reminders to let them know that, the race is coming up. Please work on your fundraising page and ask for additional donations. So use those tools. Let's just make it as simple as possible for yourself to manage, and don't overthink it by trying to go, oh, if we did X, Y, and Z, we'd get 5 more people. The reality is that if you start to overthink it, you tend to scare people away. So keeping the process simple and using the really awesome advanced features that we have tends to get you higher fundraising numbers and higher donations.
Yep, and then this is kind of just recapping what Eric just said. So we have all of these advanced fundraising features. That doesn't mean you have to use them all. You want to start with your mission, and if you are going to have a charity program, integrate with different charities or promote fundraising. Come up with a program first. Don't just enable all of these features and then hope that it works out. Know what you're going to do, how you're going to promote it, have a clear path, and then enable only the features that are going to help with your race. Like, fundraiser teams aren't really necessary if you aren't doing any type of awards or prizes. I saw a race that had 50 different fundraising team types, and none of them made sense, and they didn't really have any fundraiser teams because it was so confusing. And then back to the donation levels, make them clear, offer different amounts, but you don't need 15, 20 of them.
Yeah, your milestones, you have to sort of think through what your milestones are going to be and getting those badges. Adding badges, you'd be amazed how many people like to see themselves hit those milestones and get the badges.
And then make your mission clear. So use that donation description, customize the confirmation emails, use that default fundraising message. So we have a default fundraising message at the race level. And if you're integrating with multiple charities, we have it at the charity level too. So many races don't use this. What it is when a fundraising page is set up, my page will automatically be created, but I'm going to have text populated on my page that's specific to your mission and your cause, so that when I go to share it, my friends and family members can read about it and know what I'm raising money for and what I'm supporting. A lot of people don't use that, so then when I share my fundraising page, it's a logo and a link. So definitely use that default fundraising message. If you have multiple charities, they can customize their own default fundraising messages so you aren't sharing things about their charity that might not.
And don't worry, this is the default message. Your fundraisers can actually go in and add additional text to this and make some changes that may speak more to their cause and the reason why they support your cause. So, they may have a family member that's affected by the charity's mission, so that they can go in and talk about their family member and why they are fundraising for a specific cause. Yes?
So do they have to be a participant to be a fundraiser?
It depends on the setting. There's a setting for allow fundraisers without a registration, so you can choose. And then the last one, remind, thank, repeat. Our fundraiser minimum reminder emails. Again, those can be customized, so I'll see races that just send them out and it just sends them a reminder. It's nice when you add tips and tricks and success stories of what maybe Eric did last week at Chipotle, had a fundraiser, something like that. So a lot of people, they've never fundraised before, so they get that email and they feel a little bit helpless. So just those few extra tips and tricks really go a long way. The next one, I'm a sucker for San Diego Humane Society, but I get all of these emails from them, and it's kind of like what I was saying with add a small donation level, so people, they know that they can actually donate $5 and it will do something. So I get emails from them all the time. Do you know $5 will feed 20 dogs in our shelter or provide food for a dog for 3 weeks? So emails like that show $5 really help prompt so many donations instead of saying donate $100, because not everyone has $100 to spare.
And that's sort of also why you don't want to have that big first level, for your donation. So now all of a sudden you can ask for $1 and you can go and remind past and current. So those past people that donated $1 last year, you're able to hit them up again this year.
We have a fundraising communication tab in RunSignUp. So it's as simple as clicking email all current donors, all current fundraisers, all past donors, all past fundraisers. So as you use the system year over year and renew your race, you're just creating a bigger and bigger database of your fundraisers and donors. So it's easy to email them. Celebrate your top fundraisers. So Semper Fi Fund, they do a great job of this. They do a monthly newsletter, and every month they'll highlight one of their fundraisers and talk about the fundraiser that they did and how much money they raised and where that money went.
So you can also send your donors and fundraisers additional emails and letters after the event to say, thank you for donating to the cause. And you can even customize it and say, this is sort of like we mentioned in the reminder, your $5 allowed us to provide meals for 20 dogs. You can go ahead and add that to those thank yous.
And then the last one, just reiterating, support your donors, encourage your fundraisers. If you're an event that doesn't have a fundraiser minimum, you'll see a ton of people, well, not a ton, but you'll see a lot of people sign up for fundraising, and then maybe only 5 to 10% of those people actually raise any money, because a lot of people don't know what to do. So using registration follow-up emails or scheduling emails with fundraising tips and tricks just makes things a lot easier.
Now we get to talk about the cool stuff that Darren has done to the platform from a user interface standpoint. He's currently going through the fundraising and donation interfaces and updating those to have additional designs and layouts and improvements. And the idea is to make it a little easier and clearer to the end users on all sorts of different parts of our interface. With that, we'll run through a couple of them for you.
Here's a Komen example. So we just changed the tile, made the buttons a lot easier, made the tabs up at the top a lot cleaner and easier to search for fundraisers. You can click this little
Expand.
right here, and it turns
Switch
into
it.
a list instead of tiles. Just a lot cleaner. So this is the new fundraiser page. Cleaned up the scrolling list and just made it a little bit cleaner and easier for people to read. We cleaned up the team member tiles. This actually used to say team fundraisers, and a lot of people were confused by that. So now we actually it makes more sense for the general public and cleaned it up. And the last one, new donation tiles. So this is a lot cleaner.
Question on that display. So is there any kind of philosophy on whether we should put first, the lowest amount first, the highest amount first, or you don't say?
Right now, we default, no matter how you enter them, we put the highest amount first. Even if you save them in a random order, it would then sort by amount and put highest first. The data that I see is just races that offer those lower donation amounts. They'll see a higher percentage of donations from registrants, and usually the highest number is with the smallest amount. So just adding a donation level that is small really helps. I've seen races where their smallest is $50, and the percentage goes from maybe 10% of people making a donation to less than 1.
Even though you are looking at it just from the bottom line, you still need to have a long view, which is that you're engaging a larger audience and you're expanding the reach of your mission. So it isn't just the bottom line always, because you're going to be able to re-engage some of those people that did $10 this year, and hopefully they're really engaged. Next year you get 50 or 100. And you can't just go, right to the bottom, because you're missing the bigger picture of opportunity.
I mean, you could have 2 people that donate $300, but then you have a potential for 2 fundraisers, where you could have 120 people that donate $5. Now you have the potential for 120 people that might choose to create a fundraising page and share. Yeah. Anything else?
Thank you.